My sister-in-law popped out twins. Kept the boy and tossed the girl aside like yesterday's trash. I was soft-hearted back then. I couldn't watch it happen. So I stepped up and raised my niece. I gave her everything. And how did she repay me? When she turned 18, greedy for my assets. She staged an accident and killed me. Cold blood runs in the family. But fate has a twisted sense of humor. I opened my eyes and I was back, reborn. And this time, fuck them. Their kids, their problem. The smell of disinfectant hit me first. I blinked, realizing I was back in the hospital waiting room. On the day my sister-in-law, Tiffany, was giving birth. My mother was pacing the hallway clutching her rosary, muttering prayers for 2 grandsons. I needed that male heir to carry on the prestigious family name. Which was hilarious since we were broke. My brother Brad was sprawled on a plastic chair, glued to his iPhone playing Call of Duty. The doctor walked out looking exhausted but smiling. Congratulations. It's a pigeon pair. A boy and a girl just like you two. He gestured to Brad and me. My mother's face dropped faster than a lead balloon. She shot me a glare filled with pure venom. What use is a sister, she spat. Her voice dripping with sarcasm. Doesn't help the family, doesn't help her brother. Just selfish baggage. I laughed internally. Here we go with the emotional blackmail. Sorry, Mom. In this life, I'm fresh out of morals. You can talk all the shit you want. Brad's joy about being a dad lasted exactly 5 minutes. Once the baby started screaming, he looked like he wanted to punch a wall. Tiffany lay in the hospital bed, sweaty, bloody and ignored. She was groaning in pain. But when she saw me, her eyes narrowed. She looked at me with pure resentment. I turned my back on her. Your own parents don't care. Your husband is a deadbeat. And instead of hating them, you hate me. Mom. Tiffany didn't die on the table. So I'm leaving. I have work to do at the office. I grabbed my purse to leave. But Mom grabbed my arm with a grip like a vice. Your brother just had a son. The family name is safe as his sister. Don't you think you should show some appreciation? Open your wallet. I burst out laughing. I literally laughed in her face. I started counting off on my fingers. Since Tiffany got knocked up. Who paid for her cravings? Who paid for the prenatal vitamins? Hell, who paid clearly for this hospital room? Me. What else do you want? Want me to jump in bed and play husband, too? Mom was stunned. I had never talked back before. I used to be their doormat. Brad, seeing his cash cow trying to escape, jumped up. His face was red. Watch your mouth. Is that how you talk to Mom? What is this attitude, Chloe? Oh, sorry, Mom. My bad, I said. My voice dripping with fake sweetness. I've always been the obedient little bitch. Haven't I? Unlike Brad here who just screams and curses all day. I cleared my throat. Clapped my hands together and looked them dead in the eye. From now on, I'm going to be just like my big brother Brad. I'm only going to care about myself. And I won't spend a single dime on anyone else. Brad looked like he was about to blow a gasket. He rolled up his sleeves and swung at me. I dodged backward. He punched the air. A nurse ran over screaming at us to keep it down. Brad backed off huffing like a bull. I checked my watch. Time to go make some real money. In this world, cash is the only thing that doesn't betray you. Mom blocked my path again. She wasn't giving up. I didn't have time for her sermon. I pulled out a pre-prepared red envelope. Standard tradition, but I'd swapped the contents. I shoved it into her hand and broke free. Behind me, Brad was still yelling, calling me a heartless bitch and an ungrateful skank. I didn't care if I had a heart. I would have ended up dead in a ditch. Like the last timeline in my past life. At the baby's welcome home barbecue, Mom laid down the law. I had to be there. And the plan was simple, take my money and dump the unwanted girl. Lily, on me. Mom was old school misogynistic. Tiffany was too lazy to raise 2 kids. Brad made minimum wage. The house was a war zone. So they decided I would be the sacrificial lamb. Last time I looked at little Lily and felt sorry for her. She was innocent. I spent my youth, my energy and my savings raising her. And did I get a thank you? No. If I bought her the wrong sneakers. The family called me cheap. When Lily turned 18, Tiffany spread rumors around town that I stole her daughter. Because I was a barren spinster who couldn't land a man. Lily grew up hating me. When she found out I had a loaded 401k and life insurance, she conspired with her bio parents to cut my break lines. Not this time. Lily is Brad and Tiffany's spawn. Why the hell should I play mommy? I showed up at the party. Tiffany snatched the envelope from my hand. She felt how thin it was and her face twisted into a scowl. I ignored her and walked straight to the buffet grabbing a beer. I saw Tiffany pull Brad aside, whispering aggressively and pointing at my cheap gift. Brad turned purple. He stormed over to Mom. A minute later, Mom marched over to me like a tank. It's your nephew and niece's big day. How can you show your face here with such a pathetic gift? You cheapskate. Brad and Tiffany were right behind her, nodding like bobbleheads, loudly accusing me of being stingy. Guests started crowding around whispering. Nothing like a little suburban drama to spice up a potato salad party. I snatched the envelope back from Tiffany, ripped it open and pulled out the cash. Let's count it, shall we? I yelled. It wasn't much. Sure. But then I turned to the crowd. Let's see what everyone else gave. Aunt Karen, Uncle Bob. How much did you chip in? The guests looked down at their shoes. Most of them had brought cheap lasagna or a $20 gift card. I wasn't going to be the victim anymore. I started fake crying loudly. I've been working since I was 16. I eat ramen so I can send money to this house. Brad has a car, a wife, 2 kids. Who do you think paid for it? He's never paid me back a cent. I'm drowning in debt for this family. Mom. Brad and Tiffany looked horrified I was airing the dirty laundry. They dragged me into the kitchen, hissing at me to shut up. I'm just telling the truth, I said, wiping away a fake tear. They were furious but terrified of a scene. They let me go. I went back to the table and ate enough shrimp to cover my gift cost. During the toasts, Tiffany smiled a nasty fake smile. You know, Chloe simply focused on your career at your age. If you don't find a husband soon, who's going to take care of you? I chugged my beer. Don't worry about me, Tiff. I'm rich, I'm hot. And I can pay for a luxury nursing home. But you should focus on your kids. Stop worrying about my sex life. Tiffany froze. She looked like she had swallowed a bug. Brad tried to save face. Sis, you're getting old. Even if you don't marry, you need a kid to look after you. Why don't you? Oh. I agree. I interrupted. I'm thinking of adopting a baby boy. Some poor orphan who needs help. It'll be a tax write-off. Brad choked. What? Raising a stranger's kid? Are you crazy? That's an outsider. Your money should stay in the family. I looked at them coldly. There it is. They want my money. I stood up and tapped my glass. Hey, everyone. A toast to Brad and Tiffany. May they raise these 2 beautiful twins to be successful. All on their own. Cheers. Guests cheered. Brad and Tiffany turned pale. They couldn't ask me to take the girl in front of everyone now. That evening, my doorbell rang. I checked the people, Mom, Brad, Tiffany and the twins. They were desperate to dump Lily on me. I didn't answer. I slipped out the back door and messaged. Mom at the park, find me if it's urgent. I waited by the swing set. Mom marched over carrying Lily. She gave me a sob story about how hard it is for Brad. How tired Tiffany is. Take the girl, Chloe. She can take care of you when you're old. Yeah, take care of me by murdering me. I thought, no. Can do I that? My job is crazy right now. Can't afford a kid. Mom sat her ass right on the ground and started wailing. What an ungrateful daughter. She's going to let her niece starve. Help. The neighbors started gathering. God, I hate the suburbs. They started murmuring about how it takes a village. How I looked like a cold-hearted career woman. I cleared my throat. You know what? You're right. I have a mortgage and car payments. But if you guys are really struggling, I'll help. Give me the boy. Give me Hunter. I promise. As long as I have food, Hunter will eat freeze frame. They looked at me like I asked to eat their liver. Hunter was the golden child. the heir. Mom scrambled up from the ground and blocked Tiffany, who was holding the boy. Are you insane? You want the boy? I smirked at the crowd. See, folks. They have 2 kids. Why is it okay to give away the girl but the boy is a treasure? The silence in the park was heavy, broken only by the distant sound of a lawnmower. The neighbors, who had been ready to condemn me as a cold career woman, now shifted their gaze to my mother and Tiffany. My words hung in the air like a guillotine. Why is the girl trash, but the boy a treasure? Mom's face turned a shade of purple I didn't know was biologically possible. She clutched Hunter to her chest as if I were a demon trying to snatch a saint. Hunter is the heir. He carries the family name. You're just a woman, Chloe. You don't understand the weight of legacy. Legacy? I laughed, a sharp, metallic sound. Legacy of what? Debt? Laziness? This isn't the 1800s, Mom. If you want me to be a village parent, I choose the child I want. Or is Lily so worthless to you that you're desperate to give her to a heartless woman like me? Tiffany stepped forward, her eyes darting to the neighbors. She was a master of optics, but she was losing the room. It's not like that, Chloe. We just thought, since you're alone, a little girl would be better company. I don't need company. I need an ROI, I said, leaning in. If Hunter is the future, give him to me. I'll groom him to be a CEO. Lily? According to you, she's just an expense. So keep your expense. I'm going home. I turned my back on them and walked away. I didn't look back when my mother started screaming that I was cursed. I didn't look back when Brad threw a rock that missed my car by an inch. I just drove. The first thing I did when I got to my apartment was change my phone number. The second thing I did was call my lawyer. Hey, Marcus. It's Chloe. That property in the suburbs? The one my brother is living in? It's in my name. Start the eviction process. Give them the legal minimum. I want them out by the time the twins start crawling. In my past life, I was the buffer. I was the person who paid the unforeseen bills. I was the one who bought the organic formula while Tiffany spent her allowance on designer handbags and Brad spent his on gaming rigs. Now, the buffer was gone. A week later, I received an email from Brad via a throwaway account. Chloe, you bitch. The power went out. Tiffany is crying. The babies are cold. How can you do this? Just send $500. We'll pay you back. I replied with a screenshot of his Twitch account history showing he'd spent $200 on skins the night before. Sell your virtual dragon, Brad. Maybe it'll buy a pack of diapers. I went into ghost mode. I focused entirely on my career in high-frequency trading. Every time I felt a pang of guilt, that old, soft-hearted Chloe trying to claw her way back, I touched the faint scar on my wrist, a phantom pain from the accident that had ended my previous life. I remembered Lily's face as I lay dying in the wreckage of my car. She was 18, wearing the diamond earrings I'd bought her for graduation. She hadn't looked sad. She had looked annoyed that it was taking me so long to die so she could sign the insurance papers. Never again, I whispered to the flickering monitors of my trading desk. 3 months later, I was leaving my office late at night when I saw a familiar, bedraggled figure leaning against my car. It was Tiffany. She looked terrible. Her hair was greasy, and she had dark circles under her eyes. In her arms was a bundle, Lily. Chloe, please, she sobbed. Brad left. He said he couldn't handle the screaming. He took Hunter to your mom's, but she won't take Lily. She says one baby is enough for her back. I have nowhere to go. This was the moment. In my past life, I had taken the bundle. I had felt that surge of anti-love. I stood 5 feet away, my keys in my hand. Where's the pigeon pair joy, Tiffany? I thought motherhood was your calling. She won't stop crying. Tiffany shrieked, her voice cracking. She's hungry, and the landlord changed the locks. Just take her for a few days. Please. She tried to shove the baby toward me. I stepped back, my heart as cold as the concrete. If you abandon that child here, I'm calling the police and Child Protective Services, I said calmly. I will report you for child endangerment. And I've already recorded this conversation on my dashcam. Tiffany froze. You'd put me in jail? I'm your sister-in-law. You're a stranger who married a loser, I corrected. If you can't feed her, go to a shelter. Apply for WIC. Do what every other struggling mother does. But don't think for 1 second you can dump your trash on my doorstep. Tiffany looked at the baby, then at me. Her face twisted with a malice that mirrored the Lily I knew from the future. You're a monster. You deserve to be alone. I am alone, I smiled. And it's the most peaceful I've ever been. I got into my car and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw her sitting on the curb, the baby wailing. I dialed 911. Yes, hello. I'd like to report a woman with an infant in distress at the corner of 4th and Main. She appears to be unable to care for the child. Please send a social worker. I didn't take the child. I took the responsibility of ensuring the state knew she was unfit. It was the only mercy I would ever show Lily. Time is the best weapon for the patient. 10 years passed. I was no longer a mid-level trader, I was the founder of my own hedge fund. I lived in a penthouse with biometric security and floor-to-ceiling glass that looked down on the city like a queen on her chessboard. I kept tabs on the family through a private investigator. It was my version of a reality show. Brad had cycled through 4 jobs and 2 more accidental children with another woman before fleeing to another state to avoid child support. Mom was living in a state-run nursing home, the cheap kind she always feared, because she'd spent her meager savings trying to bail Brad out of his various legal troubles. Hunter, the golden heir, was a 10-year-old terror. He'd been expelled from 3 schools for bullying. Mom had spoiled him with the little money she had, and the result was a monster in a preteen body. And Lily? Lily had been in and out of foster care after Tiffany was arrested for a string of shoplifting charges. Eventually, Tiffany got her act together enough to reclaim her, but they lived in a trailer park on the edge of town. One afternoon, my assistant told me I had a visitor in the lobby. She says she's your niece. She's 10 years old. I hesitated. A part of me wanted to keep the door shut. But curiosity won. Send her up. But tell security to stay on the floor. Lily walked into my office. She was scrawny, wearing a faded t-shirt and shoes that were a size too small. She looked exactly like she did in the old timeline, but without the expensive clothes I used to buy her. Aunt Chloe, she whispered. I didn't offer her a seat. I didn't offer her a cookie. Who told you where to find me? I saw you on the news, she said, her eyes roaming the luxurious office. Mom says you're a thief. She says you stole our inheritance and left us to rot. She says you're the reason we're poor. I leaned back in my chair. Your mother is a liar. I didn't steal anything. I just stopped giving. There's a difference. Lily walked toward my desk, her hand reaching out to touch a crystal paperweight. It's so pretty here. I want to live here. There it was. That spark of greed. It was innate. It wasn't because of how I raised her in the last life, it was in her DNA. You can't, I said. But I'll tell you what I told your mother 10 years ago. I don't give handouts. But I do reward talent. If you want a better life, earn it. Go to school. Get a scholarship. Don't be like your father, and definitely don't be like your mother. Lily's face changed. The poor little girl act vanished, replaced by a cold, calculating sneer that sent shivers down my spine. It was the face of my killer. You have all this money, Lily hissed. You're going to die anyway. Why won't you just give it to us? We're family. Family is a word losers use to guilt-trip winners, I said. Now, get out of my office before I have security remove you. As she was escorted out, she screamed, I'll kill you. I'll come back and take it all. I watched her on the security monitor. I wasn't afraid. This time, she didn't have a key to my house. She didn't have access to my car. She was just a girl in the wind. 8 years later. Lily was 18. The exact age she was when she killed me in the previous life. I received an invitation to a family reconciliation dinner at a local restaurant. It was sent by Hunter, who was now 18 as well. Aunt Chloe, we've all made mistakes. Grandma is dying, and her last wish is to see us all together. Please. For the family name. I knew it was a trap. I knew that Grandma is dying, but it was a lie. The nursing home had confirmed she was perfectly healthy, and perfectly miserable. I showed up. But I didn't show up alone. I had 2 plainclothes bodyguards at the next table and a wire tapped into my phone. The family was gathered in a private room. Brad was there, looking bloated and gray. Tiffany was there, wearing too much makeup to hide the years of hard living. Hunter looked like a thug in a cheap suit. And Lily. Lily sat in the corner, quiet and watchful. Chloe. Brad stood up, trying to look jovial. Look at you. The billionaire. Let's skip the pleasantries, Brad, I said, sitting down. What's the price tag on this dinner? We just want to be a family again, Tiffany said, her voice trembling with fake emotion. We want to move past the bitterness. Throughout the dinner, Lily didn't say a word. She just watched me. I watched her hand under the table. She was fidgeting with something. I have a gift for you, Aunt Chloe, Lily said suddenly. Her voice was sweet, but her eyes were dead. To celebrate my 18th birthday. Since you didn't get me anything. She pulled out a small, ornate bottle of wine. It's a vintage. I saved up for it. She poured a glass and pushed it toward me. In the old timeline, she had cut my brakes. In this timeline, I was too protected for that. She had pivoted to poison. I looked at the glass. Then I looked at the golden boy, Hunter. Hunter, I said. You're the heir, right? You should have the first sip. A toast to the family legacy. I pushed the glass toward him. Hunter, being the arrogant, dim-witted boy his mother had raised, didn't hesitate. He wanted to show off. Hell yeah. To the Miller name. No. Lily screamed, reaching for the glass. But it was too late. Hunter had already downed half of it. The silence that followed was visceral. Lily stared at Hunter, her face pale. Hunter looked confused. What's the matter, Lil? It's just wine. He didn't finish the sentence. He began to cough, a wet, rattling sound. He clutched his throat, his eyes bulging. What did you do? Brad yelled, jumping up. Hunter. What's wrong? I stood up, pulling my phone out. Lily, you really should have checked if I had my own tasters. But since you chose your own brother to be the guinea pig, I think we have all the evidence we need. You did this. Tiffany screamed at me, lunging across the table. My bodyguard intercepted her, pinning her to the chair. No, I said, looking at Lily, who was trembling. She did this. Just like she did it before. Only this time, she missed. Hunter collapsed to the floor. The golden heir was foaming at the mouth. Lily was hyperventilating, her plan shattered. The police, who had been waiting outside based on my tip about a potential extortion attempt, burst in. The investigation was a media circus. The poor niece poisoning the wealthy aunt made national headlines. The wine was laced with a concentrated dose of antifreeze and several prescription sedatives. Because Hunter was young and the medical response was fast, he survived, but with permanent kidney damage and neurological issues. The golden heir would spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair, needing the very trash sister he had looked down on to change his diapers. Lily was sentenced to 20 years for attempted murder. Brad and Tiffany were investigated for conspiracy. While they couldn't be linked directly to the poisoning, the police found a hoard of stolen goods and drugs in their trailer. They went back to prison, where they belonged. My mother died a month later. Not from a broken heart, she didn't have one, but from a stroke brought on by the rage of losing her legacy. I visited Lily in prison one time. She was behind the glass, wearing a generic orange jumpsuit. She looked old. Why, she hissed. Why did you hate us so much? You had everything. You could have shared. I didn't hate you, Lily, I said, leaning into the microphone. I just knew you. I knew what you were capable of before you even knew it yourself. I gave you a chance to be different. I told you to go to school. I told you to be more than your parents. You're a liar, she screamed, banging on the glass. Maybe, I said. But I'm a living liar. And you're a prisoner of your own blood. I got up and walked away. Epilogue, the only legacy. I spent my 50th birthday on a yacht in the Mediterranean. I wasn't alone, I was surrounded by people I had chosen, mentors, friends, and the young entrepreneurs I sponsored through my foundation. I had no children. No heirs to carry on a name that had been dragged through the mud by my brother. Instead, I had a library named after me. I had a wing of a hospital. I had a scholarship fund that helped thousands of girls who had been tossed aside like trash find their own power. That evening, as I watched the sun set over the water, I felt a familiar presence. Not a ghost, but a memory. I thought of the Chloe from the first timeline, the one who died in a crumpled car, crying for a niece who didn't love her. We did it, I whispered into the salt air. The cycle is broken. I took a sip of my wine, the real kind, unpoisoned and sweet. In this life, I wasn't a doormat. I wasn't a victim. I was the storm that cleared the path for something better. I closed my eyes and finally, for the first time in 2 lifetimes, I fell into a sleep that was completely, utterly peaceful.